Welcome to Season 2, Episode 13, unlucky for some, of the BBL Show, the place for all British Basketball League related news. I am Jay Marriott. He is Drew Lasker. How are you, Mr. Lasker?
I'm good, man. It's been a really good week. Busy as usual, same as your schedule, but I actually got some husband and wife time. I got the in-laws up here, and so we went on my third date of 2021 with my wife on Saturday, and it was really cool to just be able to be together with no kids, have a normal conversation, catch up on one another's lives, because you know how it is. Like, it's just mayhem, right? When you got kids around and your whole focus is just trying to get through your day, right? What about you?
No, exactly the same. Obviously, like, we had a game this weekend. I had my dad visiting. It's the last time we can see him before Christmas. Like you said, we had the kids. It was absolute madness. And then just before I've jumped on this show, myself and the wife were like, we just didn't have 5 seconds together this weekend. But so hopefully we'll get, I think, maybe our third date in for 2021 at some point before Christmas. But happy days. All right, so we have London Lions 3-point machine, Lorenzo Cugini, coming on the show today, just off the back of the announcement of the insane Euro Cup schedule coming up and how that will affect the BBL League, as well as our old favourites of the Lasker Lookback and Player of the Week, and coupling that with the new versions of Hot Topics and Buy or Sell. But first, you know it, it's your social media spy. It's the Marriott Minute. A short one today. GB all over this one with a huge win over Greece, but unfortunately a loss to Turkey. But all around, I think, great performance. And kudos once again to stand-in coach Mark Stutel, who everybody on the socials, and I agree with this, should be named now the head coach to move the program forward. But overshadowed slightly somewhat on the social medias by the disappointment of the BBF not funding a GB under-20s program, with coach Mark Stutel himself showing his disappointment, and Manchester Giants star Dan Clark using the word heartbreaking. A lot of noise on the socials for that one. One player that must be celebrated, though, is Cheshire Phoenix Teddy O, as he is now the outright holder of the most consecutive games for Team GB, standing currently at 50, a true Iron Man of the game. London Lions, as I said earlier, announced a fixture pileup with their announcement of FIBA Euro Cup updated schedule with a two-legged semi-final back here against the Riders, sandwiched between trips to Turkey and Russia. Really interested to see how they're going to manage that one. And then lastly, shout out for our man, Mr. Lasker. Go and check out his new vlog. Seemingly, this man is not busy enough, so he has added another string to his bow, and it looks amazing. So go and check it out. And that's this week's Marriott Minute. I'm always watching.
I mean, speaking about the vlog, it's really nothing that I'm personally doing. It's our guy here at the BBL show, Johnny Wong, that's putting that together. I'm just giving you guys a glimpse of what it's like to be a presenter. So he's getting behind the scenes. Episode 1 was just a teaser, and we have more heat coming for you guys. So make sure you look out for that as we transition. A lot of stuff there to cover, Jay, and we'll talk a little bit about that more in depth in our Hot Topics. And kicking off Hot Topics, let's start right with the man, Mark Stutel. Obviously, you mentioned in your Marriott Minute about the noise on the socials about giving him the job. Let's get your thoughts, Jay, on if you believe the time is right and if Coach Mark Stutel is the man for the job.
Yeah, 100%. I don't even need to be on any kind of fence around here. I'm knocking all the fences down. Everybody knows it. They should just give it to Mark Stutel. Now, that's not playing down the role that Coach Rankin has played in the background. And we heard when we did our interview with Teddy O, just kind of the amount of detail that he's going to behind the scenes. But because of COVID, and I think, because of his own drive, I believe, to be in the NBA circles, this job at this current time is a distraction, whereas for Mark Stutel, this is his all and only focus. And he's done an incredible job of, on some small scale, doing similar to Gareth Southgate for the England football team. So he seems to have just caught the imagination of the Great Britain fans. He's got the Great Britain players right where they want to be, playing that kind of style that they want to be playing. He's really galvanized us. And I feel like when I'm watching the interviews, especially with him as well, he's just so astute and in what he's saying, and even in showing his disappointment. I love the fact that he just spoke so openly about the under-20s, and he went into detail about 10 of the 13 guys that are on that current roster have come through the pathway. He himself has come through the pathway. So in my mind, he's the man for the job, and I hope they do that soon, just to give it some solidity to moving forward.
Yeah, all great points, Jay, and well said. And I'm right with you on it. I think it's time to eliminate the assistant coach tag or interim or whatever Mark Stutel's title is. It's very clear what Nate Rankin's, where his priority lies, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, he has the NBA right there that he's scratching and clawing for, but with this situation, and like you mentioned, Teddy O did say that he's doing a lot in the background, but you beat Germany, you come out on Friday night and you beat the number 10th ranked team in the world in your own hometown. I mean, it shows that the Germany win wasn't a fluke, right? And for me, being a former player, I think it would be very difficult now to come, and I'm just guessing. I would have to guess. What are your thoughts? I would say they haven't seen Nate Rankin in the flesh in 2 years? Or, I mean, I didn't see anything on the socials that he was around this summer. So, maybe somebody out there correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just guessing. Maybe they haven't seen him in the flesh in 2 years or so. And to bring him in the fold now, I just think the boat is sailed. So you got to go with what's hot. And right now, Mark Stutel's hot. He's proven that he can handle the pressure, and he knows what he's doing. I played for him a year in the Bucks, and he is a very smart, passionate coach. And I think you see it the way the guys are out there competing. Really had Turkey on the ropes there early tonight. So, yeah, I'm all for it. So I got my Coach Stutel flag up here, and we're both here on the BBL show pushing for him if that job is open. So great job, Coach. But moving on to the Sheffield Sharks, who got a great victory on Sky Sports against the Newcastle Eagles on the road, where they're now 8-5 in Virtue Motors Arena. And you've said it, which I think is so perfect. You say that Sheffield is really consistent at being consistently, I don't know what that last word you use. I don't know if it's average or what you said, but basically at being at that 5 or 6 position in the league. And Aunt Rose said at the end of the game, they're the most confusing team in the league. And I would have to agree. They get a great victory against Newcastle Eagles. Leicester Riders at home. And for me, if they win against Leicester, it's a statement game, and they lose. But nothing embarrassing about losing to the Leicester Riders. It was a tough game. I think if they had a Cheshire type of performance, I'd be on here worried. But, I mean, I just want you to basically my question is, after this weekend, are you more sold on the Sheffield Sharks?
No, I think I stand by what I say, that they're just consistent at what they do. And saying that, I still think at some point that they have that ability to make a final in something. I just think in league play, they just are what they are. They'll be where they are, and then when the playoffs come, they're a really dangerous team that nobody wants to play. And I think the other day I was just kind of checking out the box scores and was looking through, and I was like, man, there's a lot of talent running through that group that if they get hot at any point in this season and get it rolling, you forget about Delpesh, wow, what a great addition that is. And then that's moved, Bennett Cook down further down the roster, and he was arguably like 2 years ago was a big time American player in this league. But there's just something about them that just as you sort of start to catch that wave, for one of a better cliche, because we're talking about the Sharks, just as you sort of catch that buzz for them, they just drop some confusing games, like Ant said, and there's no real reason for it. But we'll see as the season goes on. But I'm pretty sure that where they will be is 5th place or around about, and then we'll make some cup noise. And also, you really want to avoid them in the playoffs. As you saw last year, that really could have, made or break your season, probably made or break your retirement decision, to be honest. If that had gone a different way, that was a real bruising series right there. So nobody wants to play them. So I'm definitely not putting them down. They've got a great coach. They pick up some really nice players every year. They had Hemsley last year. I really like Anderson. He's a different type of player. They've added Rodney Glasgow, who seems to have fitted in nicely. Love Jordan Rottino's game. Yeah, I think they'll be where they be.
Yeah, I will say that I really like the addition of Rodney Glasgow. He looks like a much improved, hungrier player, and he pairs up perfectly with Anderson because Anderson is a traditional point guard. Rodney is out there trying to get buckets, really push the pace. So that relationship in the backcourt works really well. Kudos to Coach Atiba Lyons for inserting Glasgow in a starting lineup, moving your best shooter and your best scorer and Jonathan Williams to the bench. And I think that's something we need to pay closely attention to. I mentioned it on the comms. Jonathan Williams is a rookie. And you know how it is as a young American rookie. You don't look at the bigger picture. You're just looking at, man, I'm coming off the bench. And so I will be really paying attention to his body language. But if he buys into that role of just coming off the bench, not having to think and just play, come get buckets, then the Sharks could be dangerous. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But let's put a little bit more pressure on you in our buy or sell segment. And just to top it off, you mentioned it in your Marriott Minute, the London Lions. Wow, guys, that schedule is unbelievable. So, good luck trying to navigate that. You mentioned it. You got a trip to Turkey and Russia, which I got the chance to meet. I got a chance to visit the London Lions camp last week, and Coach Vince told me that is about 20 hours of traveling time to get there, and you come back, and by the way, you got a semifinal game to the Cup with the Leicester Riders. So, that's going to be really tough. But before that, obviously, they've gotten a chance to take their foot off the gas. They've been off for a week or so. Guys kind of been dispersed around. They feature this Friday on Sky Sports against the Newcastle Eagles. Are you buying or selling that London will have a holiday hangover live on Sky Sports Friday night?
No, I'm selling on the fact that they'll have a hangover in terms of being on Sky Sports. I think if you look at the fixtures in its entirety, I do not see how they can be consistent through that fixture schedule. But I think just having that little bit of break, resting the bodies up, a few little aches and pains will have gone away. And then obviously it's a TV game. And, you're talking about high level players right here that, it seems to, at least at the moment, it seems to be gelling really, really well. It seems to be a team that's put together really, really well. So the only thing that I'm looking at on that schedule is riders must be sitting there thinking, great schedule for us. And they're definitely not going to show any mercy in that situation. And I think that they see themselves that could possibly get them to a final against a team that otherwise would they get past, I'm not sure. So selling on the fact that they'll have a holiday hangover going into this game, but in the fixtures overall, I really struggle to see how they're going to come out with any kind of consistency.
Yeah, I agree. If they were playing, let's say, the Surrey Scorchers or a mid-table, lower seeded team, they would come out with a hangover. But this in front of the bright lights of Sky Sports. So I got a chance to visit that camp. Like I said earlier, they are legit there, and the infrastructure and how they're doing things, and I think they're gonna be just fine. But ironically, they faced the Eagles, who just lost on Sky Sports to the Sheffield Sharks, and going back to Aunt Rose's point about Sheffield being one of the most confusing teams, I think we could put the Eagles there. It's just really, really difficult to figure out what they are and what they're going to be. And here on the BBL show, we've been saying for weeks, don't panic. We know they're going to be there at the end, but I mean, if we're being honest, the excuses are starting to run out. They're going to have to start putting victories on the board. So I'm going to hit you with, are you buying or selling that the Eagles will finish in the top 4 this season?
I've still got to buy it, and for the reason is, am I slightly panicked about what I'm seeing? Yes. Like I said, a couple of weeks ago, we're like, relax, be relatively chill, but I feel like this past game, they really needed to get on the board and show that Peel's fully integrated and ready to rock and roll. But there's just something in the back of my head where the little moment that me and Coach Mac had at the end of the year when he won the playoffs, and he kind of just gave me that, like, never doubt me, kid, you know what I mean? Like, kind of moment. So I've got to buy that they can still finish in the top 4. But you have to legitimately say that Giants especially, should, if they can stay consistent, be battling them all the way for that top 4 finish. But for now, I will buy it because I don't want none of that Coach Mac moment.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of the Rudy Tomjanovich, don't you ever estimate the heart of a champion. That's what I kind of pictured in my mind as Coach Mac gave you that twinkle in his
pretty
eye.
much.
But yeah, for me, going into Friday, I think it's fair to say that they will be picked to lose that game against London, and there's no shame in that. For me, it's going to be about the intent. They're going to have to put together a good performance. Whether they win or lose. If they lose, I think how they lose is really going to determine maybe how this next couple of weeks go for them, or how they're perceived within the British Basketball League. So a huge game coming up, and where it'll be, right in front of the bright lights of Sky Sports. So make sure you guys are tuned in.
Wow. Okay, here we go with a familiar favorite of player of the week. You know what you need to do, guys. You have to make sure that you get your votes in. Make every vote count for your MVP of the week. So I have picked, we have 2 Riders players on board and 1 Shark that was showing a great deal of bite. So let's start with Jordan Rattino with 22.6 rebounds, 4 assists for a 27 index. Then sharply followed by Mark Lovin. We've been talking about him a lot the past couple of weeks with a 23 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 25 index. But somebody that Mr. Lasker actually left off the 5 players to watch last week came in to remind us that he is still the MVP of this league. General Gino Crandell coming in with 24 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists for a 35 index. And that did just make me remember in the back of my head that he did tweet us out with just a full stop. I'm not sure what that meant, but it just left me with a few chills. But get your votes in. Those are player of the weeks: Jordan Rattino, Mark Lovin, and General Gino.
I didn't see that. Did he really?
Yeah, it just jumped into my head and I completely forgot. Usually I take a little picture of those things, and yeah, I'll have to see if I can find it. It was just a full stop. I'm pretty sure it was just a full stop, and I was like, okay.
Gino, you know how we feel about you, my man.
We love General, but...
Well, Jay put it out there. We giving you and Fletch a break, you know what I mean? It was just the players to look out for. We already know we got to look out for you and Fletch. We got to show somebody else some love sometimes too, man. Come on. But, hey, if it motivates you and it gets you balling, then, hey, we've done our job here. But it seemed like the Leicester Riders have someone in contention and a player nominees every single week. But speaking of their nemesis, let's talk about one of the other top teams that's performing as well this year, and this Lasker Lookback. In this episode of the Lasker Lookback, we get to know Lorenzo Cugini. Lorenzo was raised in a small town of Akron, Ohio. He attended the well-renowned St. Vincent St. Mary's, where he finished up as the 7th all-time leading scorer with 1,229 points. Just to put that in perspective, some guy named LeBron James is first with 2,657. What a legacy to try to follow, but Cugini proved he could live up to the pressure as he helped deliver 2 state championships. His high school success would lead him to High Point after being ranked the number 8th player in Ohio his senior year. Following a great college career where they won the regular season championship 4 years in a row, he began his career in Switzerland, then off to Norway with Gimbal BBK in 2017, where he averaged an impressive 23 points per game. That would lead him to climb the European ladder, where he would play in Italy, where he would then gain citizenship. Then off to Spain goal was Destino Palencia, where he would shoot 40% from the three. So no surprise why London would demand his services, as he's a bona fide winner. It's paying dividends as he's averaging 15 points per game in only 22 minutes, as the Lions currently sit pretty at 2-0 in the league and await the Cup semifinals, and also made it through the second round of the European Cup. And that is your Lasker Lookback.
Man, as always, a sharp look back, but let's get him in the room. It is London Lions sharpshooter Lorenzo Cugini. Welcome, Lorenzo. Thanks for your time, mate. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys inviting me on the show, and happy to be here.
No doubt. Welcome in, my man.
Well, let's get started. So, it's pretty cool that you attended the same high school as LeBron James. So the question for everybody, I'm sure the fans want to know, have you ever gotten a chance to meet him?
Yeah, in the 4 years that I was there, he was actually really hands-on. He happened to still be in Cleveland, I think, for 2 of those years, maybe 3 of those years. So, yeah, he would be at some of our games, practices, and obviously in the bio I sent you guys, we won 2 state championships. So like whenever we went down to Columbus for those like big time games, he was always in the games, like locker room, giving us like speeches and like being a coach from the sidelines. Awesome guy.
That's cool to hear. So he's not only a coach of his son's AAU games and high school games, but also supporting his alma mater. I mean, just put in perspective for us of how big he really is, because on TV, obviously, he looks like a statue. I mean, you got some big guys there for the London Lions. Is there anybody on your team that we can kind of compare him to in size?
I mean, they say he's like 6'8", 6'9". I think he's taller from just like standing next to him. But I mean, he's just, I would probably say like a little bit taller than maybe like Chris. I would say like that size, but then like
Taiwa, right? Chris Taiwa?
Yeah. And then, but I mean, just strength, everything, man, just elite. Like it's everything you think of it as LeBron, like on a court, speed wise, strength, everything. He's that. Like it's unbelievable.
So basically, you're telling us he got the size of Chris Taiwa, but he got the ball handling IQ of Isaiah Reese.
Yeah, with the athleticism of Kyler, and I mean, it's unbelievable.
Oh my gosh! Man. So basically, just put all the London Lions personnel in one vacuum, and that's LeBron James.
Exactly, and you got LeBron out there. Yeah,
Space Jam. We've seen that.
That's amazing. But speaking of your London Lions, obviously you're in the nation's capital. Just talk to us about some of the things you kind of enjoy about the actual city right now.
I really like the city a lot, man. There's so much to do, even when you find a little like different pockets in the city, like Canary Wharf we live in, but we have like Greenwich I go to sometimes. Even the other day I just went down to like Covent Garden or something like that downtown. I never had been there, and there's just so much to do. So it's awesome for me because I like trying new food spots, going like on using the tube to go to different places and see like the different parts of London. And I love it because you can have really nice parts and then like the underground or like the different like hidden spots that not everybody knows about too. So it's just the depth and the like how much there is to do here is just, it's fun for me.
Yeah, was it? Do you think that was a big selling point for you coming here and playing for the Lions as well? Kind of compare it to some of the other experiences you've had around Europe. Is this, is this one of the best experiences in terms of not just basketball but also lifestyle? We know that those two things don't always come hand in hand. My first professional season, so I played for 10 years. My first professional season was in Hungary. My agent told me it was in Budapest. They picked me up from the airport. They drove me into the countryside, like 2 hours away. Not everything's as rosy as it seems. So was London a big draw for you?
For sure. In the off season, I live in like Venice Beach, like Santa Monica area in California. So I'm used to like a bigger city, like I said, like the vastness and like a lot of stuff to do. And in the past, it's like you said, it doesn't always match up. I played in Spain last year, and the first place I was in Spain was San Sebastian, beautiful city on the water, just south of France, like 15 minutes. And then throughout the year, I left and went to Melilla, which is a small little territory off this like southern part of Spain, like kind of closer. It's actually in Morocco. It's a part of Morocco, the country, but it's a Spanish territory. So completely change of lifestyle, like beautiful weather, but the way it just was way different. So yeah, like coming here to London was a big draw in itself, and in the city and all that compared to, the past places I've been for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of the off the court stuff in London, excuse me, let's just talk a little bit about on the court. How you enjoying playing with those guys at the moment? You guys off to a great start. 10-1 on the year, Cup semifinals, having a great through the second round of European Cup. How you enjoying playing with those other guys?
It's awesome. I was actually speaking to someone about this the other day. Like, how many teams, different years, different guys. You meet so many different people, and it's pretty crazy. But we all just get along so well on and off the court. So everything is just. I mean, like you were there the other day. We just have a good time. Like it's not even like a job. It's like almost like we're back in college or in high school, and you're just enjoying the game and you're not coming to work every day thinking like, oh, like, I don't want to be in these practices. Like, it's just fun to be there. We all get along super well. So on the court, it just kind of flows together and we all just connect, really well.
Yeah, give us a little bit of behind the scenes in terms of expectations. Obviously for us, we all just naturally talk about this roster that's been put together to compete on all fronts. For us, like we've said things like, is 4 trophies, is it 4 trophies or is 3 trophies enough or is 2 trophies enough? So the bar is set really, really high. How do you guys manage that? Do you talk about that in terms of like openly just accept that pressure, or are you just, kind of almost the Michael Jordan answers with the let's take it step by step, game by game, especially with this schedule that's just come out over Christmas? You guys have really got to look after yourselves to come out of that schedule looking good.
Yeah, so obviously big picture when you look at it, we want to win every game, every trophy. Anytime we step on the floor, we're trying to win the game. But I think that the best way we manage it and not really talk about it is we just come to practice every day. We only have that what's in front of us is this practice right now, and we use 1% better every day. I think we work so hard on the day and take it like a daily basis wise that each day we're just building slowly but surely. And then when we get to the actual games, that's when we obviously have our game goals and what these games matter, whether it's the semifinal of the Cup or first European second round game. Every game has different measures that we try to hit or like live by, and that's what we just go by. So yeah, it kind of is the Michael Jordan thing, the daily basis or the game, like taking it one step at a time. Because if you get too far ahead of yourself, you kind of can trip yourself a couple of times or deal with a couple like L's that we shouldn't have if we're thinking too far down the road.
Yeah, and you mentioned about, me having the opportunity to visit you guys at practice last week, and I had tweeted immediately that the London Lions success is for real. It's not a facade. I just love the energy in the building. Like you mentioned, like, I mean, you said earlier about how it's fun to go to practice. Everybody was just smiling, having fun, competing, working hard, getting their work done, just being professional. And with a team so talented, who's responsible for keeping everyone bought in? Because I look at your numbers, you're averaging 15 points in only 22 minutes. And with a team that's talented, it's easy for guys to start looking at their numbers and wanting more because they're always kind of seeking that next job. So who is kind of keeping everything, focused on the team aspect?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's every individual, whether it's this, the coaches, the trainers, anybody on our staff, anybody on the team, everybody has that, like I said, comfortability with each other. So we all kind of can keep each other accountable, whether it's practices, workouts, and we all just like to compete, so we obviously know at the end of the day, we're going out there to, play with each other, and we're all on the same team. But in practices, we come to work, like you said, like we enjoy it, but we're also like, whoever is like on the other team, team one and team two of the day, it's like we want to win the whole day. And then we obviously talk and it's like a laugh, but like we're being competitive. So we all keep each other accountable. And I think at the end of the day, everybody's numbers are so good because we know that when we win, like we all win individually. So we're all out there just trying to win the game as a whole, and we all know our roles and just have accepted it and are really comfortable with how everything's going.
Yeah, so the biggest character in the room, easily, we've known him for too long, is Coach Vince. Just give us a little conversation about, coming in and working with Coach Vince. We've seen him for so long, and we know how much of a bigger character is. Sometimes it's nice to hear somebody just kind of coming into this new environment, what you think about him. He's obviously larger than life,
Yeah. He always knows what to say. And, from the first day I met him, he's always giving you it's nothing ever negative, so I've had a lot of coaches in the past, and, you said you've been hungry. I'm sure you've dealt with a lot, like situations that you're like, dang, this guy never has anything good to say to me. So like, even in the worst times where you're, we're self-critical on how we play the game, or, things we should we can do better in certain situations, but he always builds you up. I've said from the beginning, he allows everybody to play freely, be themselves. And just, great coach, overall, man. Like I said, I've had a lot of coaches down the road, and you kind of can see how we all just kind of mesh together well. And he, helps manage that while also leading us in the right direction.
Yeah, he's been involved in British basketball for a long time, so we're happy to see him get the opportunity. I actually mentioned to him, I love the way he handled the scrutiny, because obviously, there's been things said about him if he's the guy for the job of not, and he just handled it well. He didn't go to social media and bitch and moan about it. He just continued to try to push you guys to be the best that you can be. But let's just talk about you individually. From a perception standpoint, fans would just think that you're just a standstill shooter, which you've proven to be a marksman. But being there at practice, my eyes were kind of open because I saw you actually get up on the rim. I saw you handling the ball a lot in your workout. Just talk about it, what exactly, for the fans, what your game is and what you're actually capable of, even though the London Lions at this particular time, they don't require you to really do much more.
Yeah, so I've always been able to shoot the ball, over the years. It's kind of like expanded into, obviously, pull-ups, a little bit off the ball screen, it's just about growth for me. So shooting is the basis. And, for me, I like to, compete and, like elongate like what I can do in the game. So growing wise, I just love to get better in certain areas that it may not be like a considerable weakness, but just continue to grow. So I definitely, I've shown a little bit of the off the ball, moving, finishing around the rim has gotten a lot better for me. So I like to continue to grow. And I feel like my next place, like you were seeing in that workout, is, ball screen, handling the ball, and, making, like, maybe not just shooting or, scoring, and, making better passes, and, creating like another way to where it's harder to guard me and deal with me on the court, for sure.
I like that. And just, I want to roll back a little bit, is just talking about two players that would have experienced last season. And like I said, for in most people's eyes last year, was a disappointment, even though they won a trophy. So that's kind of crazy to say. But, you know, as Drew was alluding, there was a lot of pressure on kind of Coach Vince and whether he could move this program forward. Talk to me a little bit about Dirk Williams and Justin Robinson. Obviously, Justin Robinson has kind of been a little bit behind the scenes because of his injury. Dirk Williams, obviously, like, he has put himself in the MVP race. You know, you talk about them only needing you for shooting currently. You know, you look at Dirk Williams, like, they just have him as a bona fide scorer. But did they talk about last year at all as being fuel moving forward, or did they just draw the line and say, hey, this is a new team and here's a new set of expectations?
They definitely, you know, we've talked about it as a team and everything. And obviously, you know, whatever happened last year, and I wasn't there in that situation. But obviously, you know, they want to win as many games, and they didn't win the games, you know, maybe that they knew they should have or that they wanted to. So going forward, they were just like, let's just make it a different year. And, you know, just to speak on Justin to begin with, he's been awesome. Obviously, he's just been just got back to playing and everything, which is really awesome for him to, you know, go through that 6 months and get back and awesome. And it's been awesome having him on the court, and off the court, he's just been like the vocal, like wise behind the scenes, like really just good positive energy at all times, like keeping everybody together. You know, when the little, maybe if we had like little fall throughs in different quarters of games and stuff, like he's just been great for that. So to have him back on the court and actually with us out there is awesome, because he, you know, he brings a lot to the table. And then obviously Dirk is exceptional, and, you know, every facet, and it's awesome every day, you know, to be there with him and compete with him, you know, every day, whether it's on the same team or against him. And then in the games, obviously you can see us out there just having fun together, obviously being like two great shooters. So yeah, they've both been like good kind of layers to kind of help me get into the BBL and everything, you know, with British basketball and the European side of it too as well.
And finally, for me, you guys come up to my hometown on Friday night in front of the cameras of Sky Sports, and we actually mentioned in one of our buy a sales segments, I asked Jay, does he believe London will have a holiday hangover? And what I mean for that is, you guys have had a busy schedule. You've been in since August grinding. You've been traveling all over the place. But you finally got a little mini break. Jordan Williams was away with the GB team. A couple of guys wasn't there at practice when I was there because they was taking care of business. Tell us why you guys won't have a blip or have a hangover going into Friday's game.
I think it's just business as usual. You know, obviously we had like our, if you want to call it a little break this week, but we still got working. A lot of guys we're all still locked in, you know, and we know that, you know, it's just, like I said, like another day. Tomorrow's Monday, we get back to practice, and it's that 1%. And that's just going to continue on forward. You know, we're creating this narrative or our own little masterpiece. And it's just, you know, the next day of practice, business, and keep moving forward, you know, and excited for another opportunity to play again. You know, we played so many so far, and it's like, oh my goodness, so many games. And then now we haven't played again. Everybody's like, now I want to play a game again. So like, yeah, so everybody's gonna be ready for sure.
Nice.
No, I mean, listen, you know, thanks so much for kind of coming on the show. Like I said, we just try to get these little snippets for people to get to know players. You know, obviously you talked about being able to be around LeBron James. That's probably going to be a bit of a talking point now for you. So sorry if we've opened that question a million times, but yeah, you know, good luck. I know just coming into this holiday season, just what a formidable task that really is for you guys. And if you can stay consistent through that kind of through that schedule, then wow, you know, you guys are going to be really, really scary. But it's been a lot of fun watching you this year. Like my career, I was a shooter as well, so I've always got an eye and a favoritism for those guys that can shoot the ball. So we appreciate what you're doing for the league.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for allowing me on your show, man, and I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you on Friday, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look forward to it, my man.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep pushing along.
For sure. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, man. Good night.
Yep. Good night.
Okay, Mr. Lasker, that surely was a great episode there, getting to know Lorenzo Cugini. A lot of fun there. Lots of pressure on those London Lions boys, but I think they're up to the task. Anyway, guys, I hope you are enjoying this. It's running thick and fast. We're even going to have to start thinking about Christmas in a minute, Mr. Lasker. What are we going to be doing? I have to get my top 5 back out Christmas movies, I think, Christmas sweaters. We have to upscale on what we were doing last year, but these episodes are coming really fast. We're really enjoying them. We hope you are too. Mr. Lasker, lead us out.
Speaking of Christmas, I just been sent a Christmas list, so I guess I'm going to hop online and start doing some shopping for the family. But I didn't see anything on there for me, ironically. But yeah, what a great episode, man. A great guy, and gave us a lot of insight and a perfect transition into Friday night Sky game against the Newcastle Eagles. So hope you guys enjoyed that, just getting some insight into the London camp. And also, look, I got to sit down with Vince coming out as well. So a lot of great content out there. You got other podcasts. Make sure you guys go tune into those guys as well, and keep feeding yourself with that British basketball knowledge. But until then, you know where Jay and I will be, right here, same place, same time, here on the show.
The show.